The news of the day coming out of Canada, for those of you who care. Chrystia Freeland, who I will dare say has more loyalty to, I won't say it's her homeland because I think Chrystia was born in Canada, but her ancestral land, who seems to have more loyalty to the folks of Ukraine than to the folks of Canada that she was elected to represent. She is resigning. Chrystia Freeland was the Minister of Finance, I want to say. She was like the second most powerful person in Canada. Some people hypothesized that she was the first most powerful person in Canada. She's resigned, and we're going to go through her letter in a second, but I want to start a little bit earlier than this because you may or may not know, I don't know how Chrystia Freeland identifies, but I believe biologically she's a woman. So we now have yet another situation of a woman in a position of power under Justin Trudeau's regime resigning, although as you're going to see when we get through that letter, she was actually demoted, would not tolerate the demotion, and thus had to resign in a way that I think reflects very poorly on Justin Trudeau. But what you have is another member of Justin Trudeau's government, who happens to be a woman, being ousted, chased out, forced out, resigning from Justin Trudeau's administration. Why do I bring up sex, gender? I don't play these games of identity politics. Justin Trudeau does. Here we go. Justin Trudeau came out last week and touted what a feminist Justin Trudeau is. Listen to this scumbag POS.
No, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist.
I will always be an ally to women, even the ones that I grope on the boobies. Just an FYI, everybody. Justin Trudeau is not a feminist. He's actually, quite literally, an abuser in a, let's just say, spiritual sense of women. Many of you don't, know because you've watched the channel. 2000, he apologized for having groped a reporter at some music event. He elbowed an NDP, a New Democrat Party woman, in the boob. Touch her boob? That's assault, brother. It's assault, brother, when you do with your elbow in some tiff in Parliament. That's Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau fired Jody Wilson-Raybould, we're going to get to that in a second, because she would not adhere to his corrupt demands to not prosecute his corrupt buddies at SNC-Lavalin, which is an international construction conglomerate. Justin Trudeau is such a feminist. I mean, I guess he is a feminist because, he believes in locking women up even harsher than you lock men up. And this one goes back quite a while back. Look at this. Here, listen to Justin Trudeau talk here for a second.
La personne en Iran n'est pas quelque
His
chose
disdain for the mistreatment of rights in Iran is not, he objects to it.
de nouveau. In the wake of the horrific downing of PS 752, the Iranian regime refused to be held accountable, but our government was and is relentless in the pursuit of justice for the families of the victims.
Get to the.
We will stop at nothing.
Get to the part where you talk about,
that this regime
treatment
is
of women.
held to account, and that we will support the families until justice is served. We've seen Iran disregarding human rights time and time again. Now we see it with the death of Mahsa Amini and the crackdown on protests. To the women in Iran who are protesting and to those who are supporting you, we stand with you.
Fuck you, Justin Trudeau. You remember this? All of a sudden, Justin Trudeau's concerned about brutal regimes cracking down on women's rights, particularly women protesters. That's Tamara Leach, everybody. You may remember her from such protest. Oh, by the way, a woman, quite clearly, half Aboriginal, which is half Native American, locked up for several weeks on nonviolent mischief charges for having participated in the organization of the Ottawa trucker protest. This mother effer is the most gaslighting, abusive narcissist imaginable. And he touts himself as being a feminist and an ally of women, while literally, historically, allegedly groping them because he apologized for it, literally, not allegedly, demoting them and firing them when they refused to adhere to his corrupt demands, literally, not metaphorically, locking up women for participating in peaceful protests. No, there's some other rumors which I don't repeat because they're not yet able to be substantiated. So now we're going to bring it all the way back to Chrystia Freeland, but let's hear it. This is December 16, today, and I verified this is legit, people. Dear Prime Minister, it has been an honor of my life. It has been the honor of my life to serve in government, working for Canada and Canadians. We've accomplished a lot together. Oh, yeah. Much like Joe Biden has accomplished a lot. Destroying a country. On Friday, you told me you no longer want me to serve as your finance minister and offered me another position in the cabinet. Do you know what that is in employment terms? I'm not saying it is under, government terms. That would be what we would call constructive dismissal. Hey, Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, would you like to clean the toilets? Well, no. Well, oh, geez, you don't really want to take that crappy job. It's your choice. No, I quit. And that would be constructive dismissal, presumably because there's a substantial modification of what her title was, and she didn't want the demotion down from Minister of Finance, because I'm not really sure what it could have been that would have been a promotion. And now, you know what, with that said, so understanding that it's a demotion and not a promotion of a woman in his cabinet, now you're going to understand something that went on with Jody Wilson-Raybould. In hindsight, we now understand that it was a firing by another name. At the time, talk about state-run propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, the CBC, Canada Broadcasting Corporation, a crown corporation, which receives its funding from the government. Whatever government is in power, it receives it from the federal government, but just so happens that Trudeau's been in power since 2015. Their propaganda at the time was that Jody Wilson-Raybould was shuffled from the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, which is arguably among the most powerful positions in Canadian politics. She was shuffled to Veterans Affairs, and she was replaced by a white man. JustinTrudeau, the true feminist, kicks out the women when they don't do what he says and replaces them with white men. Look at that effing face. Holy hell. Can a face get more annoying than that? I would say it would be very, very difficult. But yeah, the feminist demotes the woman and then she quits. And then the state-run propaganda runs it as, oh, she's moved to Veterans Affairs and replaced. Well, the reality is that she was demoted to the point where it was clear that she was being fired. And then this led to JustinTrudeau's second ethics violation. Canada Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould resigns amid SNC-Lavalin. This was about a month after she was shuffled out. This, by the way, everyone also knows, this led to Justin-Trudeau's second ethics complaint because it was successfully proven and demonstrably proven that Justin-Trudeau corruptly interfered with Jody Wilson-Raybould's judicial independence when she decided to proceed with prosecuting the construction conglomerate SNC-Lavalin, and Justin-Trudeau was found to have put undue pressure on her independent judicial opinion to do that, and then he shuffles her out, which was an actual firing, and he's done it yet again, people. And this time it's with Chrystia Freeland. And we're going to get to the, what does this mean and where does this go? Okay, here we go. Check this out. On Friday, you told me you no longer wanted me to serve as your finance minister and offered me another position in the cabinet. Upon reflection, and by the way, this is a big public FU to JustinTrudeau. Upon reflection, I have concluded that the only honest and viable path for me is to resign from the cabinet. To be effective, a minister must speak on behalf of the prime minister and with his full confidence. In making your decision, you made it clear that I no longer credibly enjoy that confidence and possess the authority that comes with it. This is Jody Wilson-Raybould 2.0. At least it's smelling a little bit like it. The only difference is, I think Jody Wilson-Raybould, other than being a progressive liberal, is actually a good person. Chrystia Freeland is a destroyer of Canada. She's an evil, awful, I think of the word that I can use that won't get me canceled, person. Evil, awful. This is the evil, awful person, and there's a word for it, who froze the bank accounts gleefully, who basically subjected everyone to like terrorism-enhanced verifications as a result of their participation in the trucker convoy. She's an evil, awful, horrible, horrid person. But Jody Wilson-Raybould, I do not believe is bad. Okay. Bottom line, though, something went down and it's getting ugly and now it's public. For the past number of weeks, you and I have found ourselves at odds about the best path forward for Canada. Our country today faces a grave challenge. The incoming administration in the United States is pursuing a policy of aggressive economic nationalism, including a threat of 25% tariffs. We need to take that threat extremely seriously. That means, by the way, we need to take it seriously, which means you don't seem to be taking it seriously. This is throwing Trudeau under the bus and getting ahead of the narrative so fast and so viciously. This highlights what a vicious itch-base she actually is. There, I said it in pig Latin, so that makes it not bad. That means keeping our fiscal powder dry today. So we have fiscal powder dry. Considering people think that Chrystia Freeland does a lot of coke, with her twitchiness, she might not want to use like, fiscal powder dry. Keep your powder dry. So we have the reserves we may need for a coming tariff war. That means eschewing costly political gimmicks, like maybe like that stupid bullshit tax credit. There's no GST and there's no government sales tax or sales tax on food, which there wasn't in the first place, which we can ill afford and make Canadian doubt that we recognize the gravity of the moment. That means pushing back against, quote, America first, end quote, economic nationalism. Wow, they really want to throw out that word nationalism. With a determined effort to fight for capital and investment and the jobs they bring. That means working in good faith and humility with the premiers of the provinces and territories of our great and diverse country and building a true Team Canada response. I know Canadians would recognize and respect such an approach. They know when we are working for them, and they equally know when we are focused on ourselves. Ooh, she's calling him a selfish asshole. Inevitably, our time in government will come to an end, but how we deal with the threat our country currently faces will define us for a generation and perhaps longer. Canada will win if we are strong, smart, and united. You are weak, dumb, and divided. Justin Trudeau. It is this conviction which has driven my strenuous efforts this fall to manage our spending in ways that will give us the flexibility we will need to meet the serious challenges presented by the United States. I will always be grateful for whether after this entire big F you, you're weak, you're stupid, you're reckless, you're not taking things seriously. It is this conviction that has driven my strenuous efforts this fall to manage our spending. I got that. I will always be grateful for the chance to have served in government, and I will always be proud of our government's work for Canada and Canadians. I look forward to continuing to work with my colleagues as a Liberal Member of Parliament, and I am committed to running again for my seat in Toronto in the next federal election. And there you have it, people. With gratitude, something that looks either like a race car, a rocket, something phallic, or just C free. Oh yeah, C and right to the F. The Honorable Chrystia Freeland. By the way, this is it right here. You see the little cursor? This is covering her corrupt ass because she knows that Trudeau is grotesquely unpopular in Canadian politics, will not survive a leadership challenge for the Liberal Party, and this is a big preemptive middle finger to Justin Trudeau while she tries to save her own ass in government and get ahead of what she knows is going to be the shit show that will come in the next federal election. There's no friends in politics. You want a friend in politics, get a dog. I forget who said that. It's fantastic. But the bottom line, I have no idea what that noise was. Bottom line, the rats are jumping ship and the circular firing squad is commencing, and it is wonderful to watch.